All right, folks, we are back. It's March 11th, 2024, and I am so excited to be back here on YouTube. What a perfect time to make it back on here. I'm going to share this one out real quick, let everyone know that we are live, and we're going to get our party started. It's a little Monday morning session. Well, Monday here on the West Coast, and really looking forward to this one because we have XRP ripping. Love to see it. Up over about 25% in the last 24 hours. In fact, it did a 1 hour candle. It was over 20%. Now, these types of pumps actually kind of worry me because I want sustained growth, right? Long-term growth. I'm not here for a get-rich-quick little pump to 70 cents, and I'm not flipping around with my little bag, right? I don't play with my XRP. I understand it's part of the end game, just as I titled this session here tonight, or this morning, XRP and Gold Endgame, right? I understand what XRP is meant here to do. It's not here for a little pump. At least that's not what I'm here for. Now, for the traders, God bless them. Make your money, do your deal. Good luck, God bless. But for me, this is sending a signal. Gold has been sending a signal. Bitcoin has been sending a signal. Bonds have been sending a signal. And I do believe that XRP is sending a signal. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right here, folks. Let's get this party started. It's been a long week without you guys. I'm so glad to be back. Obviously, I did not take a week off from YouTube by choice. Had to go sit in timeout for a little bit. Happy to be back. And once again, we did not stop working. We did not stop putting together and adding to our thesis, following the data. Big week last week. And so we got a lot to catch up on and a lot to cover because this week's going to be absolutely massive. With the Bank Term Funding Program now officially ended, what we're seeing right now is bank stocks going down and XRP, Bitcoin, and gold going up. So it's an interesting little moment in time. So glad to be back. If you guys need to get caught up with us in our private group, it's at my website, zachrector.com, along with the rest of our community resources. And without you guys, we wouldn't be here. I really do appreciate all of your support. It means the world to me. I'll show you what I'm talking about, folks. Let's take a look at it. As BTFP ends today, investors are slowly heading to the exits, and we have New York Community Bank down about 5%, along with many others. All the bank stocks really moving back down today. So I got to cover some of the data points, and you guys know me. I don't have my moon suit fully strapped on yet, even though XRP is pumped above 70 cents. And right now, as we're talking, XRP is still ripping, guys. In fact, it just went and hit something else. See, we were up over about 27%. I need to adjust my chart. We're almost up 28% in the last 24 hours. Okay. So I don't know where the XRP haters are at. They kind of went silent. I was reading Twitter today before I got on here, and they kind of are missing. They're MIA. Funny how that works. And please remember, too, the Ripple stopped programmatic sales in Q3 of 2019. So I see a lot of people throwing around the term, oh, they're letting XRP breathe. Well, okay, let's understand that programmatic sales stopped in Q3 of 2019. Okay. So is somebody letting XRP breathe? Yes, I think it's fair to say, and it's okay to still use that term, but just be very clear that Ripple is not dumping on us, right? They're not dumping on exchanges. They're not doing programmatic sales like they were in 2019, right? So we have to understand that the dynamics this time around are much, much different. And there's a whole lot more money in this whole space than there was back in 2017 when XRP went from pennies to over $3, right? So we're starting with our launch pad at 50, 60. Now we're up here at 70 cents. And the bull run's just beginning. The signals being sent right now, I believe, from crypto, from bonds, from gold. And so I got to go through a couple data points to just confirm where we're at, guys. The world around us is burning down. Crypto's pumping. And we're going to rise like the phoenix from this collapse. Absolutely, okay? But just understand what's taking place around us. Let's get into it, folks. Here's the scale of discount window borrowing during the banking crisis before the Fed created emergency BTFP and OCE. This is the Federal Reserve primary credit lending in billions, okay? So it went up over $1 trillion during 2023. Okay. Roughly 80 billion was borrowed when BTFP was created in March 2023 and must be repaid within weeks of BTFP ending on March 11th. Now, you continue on here, folks, and you can see what I'm talking about. with this one right here. 53 billion due to be repaid on March 22nd, which, funny enough, March 22nd is the day that the government is facing another potential shutdown, okay? Another partial shutdown. Although Biden did pass some $400 billion bill over the weekend to fund parts of the government till September, we still have a partial shutdown looming on March 22nd as well. So $400 billion is not enough to keep the government doors open these days. That's how crazy this situation is, folks. Imagine that. You couldn't convince people, 10, 20, 30 years ago, let alone our grandparents, that we would have been not able to fund the government with a $400 billion passage of a bill. That was only part of our government, right? This is our current reality. And we have $53 billion due to be repaid on March 22nd, same day partial government shutdown is looming, and also the same day that the AMM on the XRP ledger is set to go live. Funny coincidence. And we have a total of $79 billion by April 5th. It's easy to see how this could potentially create liquidity problems for banks. It also just happens to be after OPEX and VIX expiration. I hope you guys got yourselves a fresh cup of coffee, folks, because it's getting exciting out here. And we were anticipating this for this week. We were anticipating the fireworks to go off. We've been looking at this date for a while. Ever since the Federal Reserve confirmed that they weren't going to renew the BTFP program, we knew it was going to be fireworks this week, and sure enough. Now, my thesis, and it's very simple where I think we're at, and I hate to be this guy, right? I wish I could just strap on the moon suit, enjoy the pump, and go for the ride. I wish I could, but there's some warnings, and where I think we're at right now is a bull trap rally leading up into bull trap before banks collapse. This is the tweet that I put out last night. And we're also watching a pre-CPI release rally like we've gotten for the past 3 years, right? Every single time leading up into the CPI, while inflation has been a hot topic, we continue to get these rallies leading up into the CPI release. And then it comes out, inflation's hot. So then everybody understands, oh crap, the Fed is going to have to keep tight, keep rates higher for longer. And then the market rolls over. So we've been seeing this happen time and time again. And so this is why I put out the tweet last night, bull trap before bank collapse. That's what I think. That's where I think we're at right now. And that's what I think this whole rally has been. Bitcoin and gold sending the signal. And so we'll see if, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe the banking crisis won't be that big of a deal. But nonetheless, exactly 1 year ago, we saw Silicon Valley Bank collapse, and we saw the executives getting out before the collapse, including the CEO, general counsel, CFO, and CMO, all selling off huge portions of their stock before that. What have we been witnessing in the other executives across, some of the largest corporations and the other insiders, right? They've all been selling. What have we seen with hedge funds here recently? The largest outflows from tech that we've seen in a very, very long time, right? So the insiders have been selling. The insiders maybe see what we're willing to take a look at, right? We don't just look at the green candles on the chart. We look at some of the other data points that are going to impact these markets as well. And this is the probability of recession in 2024 at a level that has only been seen 2 times since 1960. Both ended in severe economic downturns. This time is not different. Yeah, the only thing that's different about this time is that the bubble is bigger. Excuse me. That's the only thing that's different about this time around is that they blew up an everything bubble. It's not just real estate. It's not just the .com bubble was based off of tech, right? And so once again, this time is different in the sense that it's a lot bigger. Taking a look at this one, cash is now more attractive than stocks. The last time this happened was before the .com bubble crash. Show me a data point that doesn't take us back to the great financial crisis, that doesn't take us back to .com, doesn't take us back to 87 market crash, that doesn't take us back to the inflation of the 70s, that doesn't take us back to the Great Depression, 1929 collapse. Show me a data point that doesn't take us back there. And the only data points that you can show me is crypto is now a new asset class. And crypto is another alternative, another catalyst, and sending another signal to warn what is looming. And now last week, we got updated jobs numbers. Terrible. Now, of course, the headline numbers that they reported, they twist, they manipulate, and they create a facade that the jobs numbers were strong, right? And what's happening? Well, we're getting a lot more part-time jobs added. Americans working 2 and 3 jobs is at an all-time high, and we're getting a loss of full-time jobs. And we're also seeing a record amount of jobs that are going to, well, I'm not even going to say that. I talked about this in the Discord call on Saturday. I'm not going to repeat that here, actually. But just go take a look at where the jobs are going to. It's interesting, to say the least. And so we just saw a poll, actually. I just saw a study that came out, and 94% of tech workers are worried about losing their job this year. So it's finally starting to click for folks that, oh, wow, it's not going to be just sunshine and rainbows and a good old participation trophy economy anymore. That's not the case, okay? And so I think that what we have been seeing in these markets has been a signal, like I said, from Bitcoin, from gold, and from bonds. And bonds the yields starting to drop off, right? Because they're realizing, wow, the Fed is going to have to cut rates because we are heading into a recession. Yes, he's going to keep the rates higher for longer, but this thing's starting to break. As we are watching, you're seeing the bank collapse starting right now with New York Community Bank had to get bailed out for $1 billion just, what was that, a week or so ago? So the bank collapse is already here. It's already being confirmed. It's just bailouts are happening. And this one, thankfully, didn't come from the U.S. government. It came from Steve Mnuchin, 77th Treasury of the United States Secretary, and a couple other buddies there from Wall Street that bailed out New York Community Bank. That bank was already set to collapse. So I'm not just making up this, bull trap and then bank collapse. No, it's happening. The bull trap rally is pretty spectacular right now. XRP up to 74 cents and Bitcoin up to 72,000. Okay. So it is happening, and I believe that it is sending the signal. Now, let's put this one in all the world's a stage file. Right here, tomorrow, we have Ripple lead attorney, Andrew Saraceni, who used to be director of enforcement at the SEC, now currently the lead attorney at Ripple, will talk with the SEC lead attorney, George Tenriro, about the current stand of government enforcement in crypto. Let's add this one to all the world's a stage file, right? Truly incredible to see this. We've been watching time and time again, right? This revolving door at Ripple between Wall Street, between even SEC officials, Mary Jo White and Andrew Saraceni, who were both lead officials at the SEC, now representing Ripple in the legal fight, against the SEC, right? Are we watching a show? Is the question that we just continue to ask, right? We have an ongoing case with George Tenriro. He's been filing all the, his signature has been at the bottom of all the SEC filings here of late. He's a lead attorney with Andrew Saraceni. And tomorrow they're going to be doing a fireside chat at Yale University. It's all one big club and we ain't in it. Or are we getting our little piece of the club by investing in XRP? Interesting to see. I didn't include this in the show, but since I just thought of it, I want to mention it. We just saw that 2 executives from Ripple have been announced. A new CFO, I forget his name, but he was former Morgan Stanley. And so this is the revolving door between Wall Street, even the SEC, other government bodies. Obviously, the 43rd Treasurer of the United States of America, Rosie Rios, joining the board of directors at Ripple. You see the revolving door that I'm talking about. So we just saw Ripple making a move, and this is what you do in anticipation of going public, is you have an official CFO, and then the other executive they both have been at Ripple now for years, been doing really well at Ripple, and so now they've been given new titles, and the other one was SVP and people and places, and I forget that gal's name, but I'll cover that separately in another show. I just wanted to mention it while I had come to top of mind. Now, continuing on, folks, we have 2 months to go until the ETFs for Ethereum, the spot ETFs for Ethereum, are set to be approved or disapproved. And we got the scoop here from Eleanor Terrett talking about how the optimism about the SEC approving the spot ETFs by May 23rd is waning. Now, we've been warning about this, right? How can you approve a spot ETF for an asset that you can't define as a security or not a security, right? When simply asked the question, is Ether a security? We can't get a straight answer from anyone at the SEC. How do you approve a spot ETF if you can't even say or define what the underlying asset is? Based on my conversations with people familiar, meetings in recent weeks have been very much one-sided, with issuers and custodians trying to rally SEC staff to get the process rolling, but staff not really engaging in meaningful ways like they did with the Bitcoin spot ETF applications. Why? I'm told that Gary Gensler believes he already placated the industry with the approval of the BTC spot ETFs. Also, influential anti-crypto politicians like Elizabeth, I got a plan for you, Warren, which is to be a little peasant while she flies around on the PJ. Is it time to dethrone her with our good friend John Deaton or what? Are already angry at the SEC for approving the Bitcoin ETFs in the first place and are rallying against the same thing happening for Ethereum. One source tells me, quote, staff has been very hard to gauge on this, and we're not sure if anyone really knows what's going on in their heads, but they're going to have to start work soon if it's going to have a shot. May 23rd is a little over 2 months away. So we're going to continue to watch this one, folks. We have our good friend Steven Arioff, Ethereum whistleblower, who's been sounding the alarm. He's been making some appearances here recently on interviews, and, we've been covering how Ether is just in this interesting place where, they're not willing to come out and say whether it's a security or not, but they also need to cover up their tracks. And we just saw last week, right, that CFTC Chairman Benham, he was in front of Congress testifying on how, it would kind of mess things up, right, if the SEC came in and said that Ether was a security after they've already declared that it's a commodity. And he's talking about the CFTC. And of course, we have to consider Bill Hinman's speech, even though the SEC wants to, stay away from that. We understand the problem with them declaring Ether a security today is that, okay, well, what about the ICO that occurred, right? And that's the can of worms that they don't want to open up. So how do you approve an Ethereum ETF while not opening up the can of worms about the disguised whales and the ICO and all the fraud and corruption that's been taking place with Ethereum and with the officials at the SEC who helped push that through? This is where they've been backed into a corner. They're between a rock and a hard place, right? Where, yeah, I'm sure they want to push through the spot ETF, right? But at the same time, they don't want to open up that can of worms. So going to be very interesting to watch. Now, we're going to move on over our good friend, well, depending on who you ask, our good friend, President Donald Trump, making an appearance on Squawk Box with CNBC, Joe Kernan, and the gang here this morning. And I want to play a little clip. There's a couple things that we can take away from this interview with Donald Trump. First off, he says that he's been making money off of crypto, talks about how it's taken on a life of its own. He says he's been making money off crypto, off of his NFTs, his sneakers, but he says he doesn't own Bitcoin. And I want you to listen to how he laughs and kind of scoffs off the idea of him owning Bitcoin. But then he goes on to talk about how Jay Clayton did a good job and didn't have any scandals. And he said, maybe Jay can let me know, or you guys can let me know if there was any scandals. And it was almost as if he was kind of hinting like, yeah, everything was good, right? Like, you guys let me know. Was everything on the up and up? Because it's one of the most scandalous positions at the SEC because there's so much money involved. It was a very kind of cryptic little deal that he said. I'm going to play this clip. You guys listen in. This is Donald Trump, 45th President of the United States. Let's get it.
Well, it's taken its own life. I do little things sometimes for fun and, make money with it, but I have fun with it too.
You mean NFTs, you bought Bitcoin?
No. But I sometimes will let people pay through Bitcoin, or will let people.
God, no. Do I own Bitcoin? He laughs. No. Absolutely not.
People get involved in a new. If you think of it, it's an additional form of currency. And I used to say, I want one currency. I want the dollar. I don't want people leaving the dollar. And I feel that way. But I will tell you, it has taken on a life. I did a thing that people smile at, but it was wild. We did 1,000 sneakers, so limited edition sneaker run. The last one, and you could go through, our crazy new currencies, because that's what I call them. They're crazy new, whether it's Bitcoin.
I like that name for them, crazy new currencies. I like that. We might start using that one.
Bitcoin or others. And so many people were buying these things. And ultimately, the last pair of sneakers sold for approximately, I hear, $450,000. It was a limited edition, a run. They were gold. They were nice, cute. And we thought it was just a very small thing. It was a branding thing, and had a good time with it. The last pair sold for $450,000. People were going crazy for these sneakers. You probably were too. Everybody was. I have every friend I have has called me for a pair of sneakers. So it just took off. And I noticed that so many of them were paid for with this with the new currency. And it is that. It's a new cryptocurrency.
Other thing to note too is he's calling them currencies. He's not calling them securities. He's not calling them commodities, right? He's calling them currencies. Very interesting.
And I couldn't believe the amount. And I'm saying, this thing has really, and other things I do, people are using it. And, I would be, I'm very much a traditionalist. I like staying with the dollar. You know that from when I was there. It's make the dollar the choice. I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar. And and frankly, and I know Jay feels strongly about this, and Jay did a fantastic job, by the way, in a group where there's always scandal and problems. Jay went through 4 years. There wasn't one scandal. I don't know, Jay, maybe you can tell me, but there wasn't one scandal. That is the most scandalous position, because it involves massive amounts of money. With Jay Clayton, we had no scandal, zero, nothing whatsoever. So I thought it was great. But I have seen there has been a lot of use of that, and I'm not sure that I'd want to take it away at this point. Well, it's taken its own.
So there you have it, folks. He's calling them currencies, which is very interesting to note. For me, I said it last week, right? I believe that XRP is like gold. It's a currency and a commodity. You get an inherent value from it, utility from it as well, which is the definition of a commodity. And then you also have a currency as well. And we've got that definition from FinCEN as well. And we have the definition from Judge Torres that it's not a security, right? And so I think that Trump is starting to get it. I think that he's always understood, how important it is for us to keep the U.S. dollar as that reserve currency status. And this is why I titled this session XRP and Gold Endgame, is because to me, this is going to come down to who has the gold and who has DLT technologies that allow for a level playing field for free and open permissionless trade. And whether XRP is a part of that or not, we're going to see. I firmly believe that XRP will be part of it. What was interesting is he said that Jay had no scandals. But he said, well, you tell me from as far as he knows, right? Which I thought was kind of a backhanded way of saying, there's one of the shadiest three-letter agencies within the government is the SEC, is essentially what he just said, right? It's usually a position and an entity that's rife with scandals, right? And he said that Jay Clayton didn't have any. Now, it's very important because he knows exactly what he's saying and what he's doing. On the last day, Jay Clayton filed the lawsuit, right? And that decision was made by the SEC commissioners, right? It wasn't just the decision of Jay Clayton. But then you had like Bill Hinman, right, who went off on his own. He went and asked the SEC, hey, guys, here's my draft speech. I'm going to say that Ether's not a security. And everybody was warning him, like, no, this is not right. But he still did it. And so I thought it was a very interesting deal that Trump just said in that one. But, as you can see, he's willing to accept Bitcoin. And I think that, what I took away from it is, one, he's making money off of it, which is the right thing to do, right? But does he hold Bitcoin? God, no. God, no. And to me, I think that you are starting to see the end game approaching very, very quickly. Gold, XRP, Bitcoin, and the bonds have been sending the signal, which is that turmoil and chaos is set to be unleashed in these markets with a massive correction. The banking crisis is not over. The funding program that kept the banks afloat for the last year is ending today. It's over and it is done with. As I highlighted earlier in this episode, there's over 50 billion that needs to be paid back on March 22nd, some 79 billion total that needs to be paid back by April 5th. And so over the next month, it's going to get a little bit shaky. It's going to be volatile. And the stocks were back down this morning. They did start to rally a little bit. But what we saw was Bitcoin piercing through 70,000 to a new all-time high of 72. And I haven't even had the chance to check gold, but we did see the XRP also was back up to 74 cents here earlier today. So here's Bitcoin at 72,461. Ether broke above 4,000. But then XRP printing something beautiful right here. That's 28% in 24 hours. Okay. Now it's back down here to about 72 cents right now as I'm recording it. This thing's been fluctuating. As I started this episode, it was back above 74 cents. And XLM doing what it does, the little brother, the little sister to XRP, following closely behind. Now you did get some action, Algorand's back up, few other coins, right? But really XRP and XLM kind of leading the show. Bitcoin up about 5%. And the what we're waiting for, what we want to see is we want to see stabilization in Bitcoin, and then we can start to see that liquidity flow continue to go to the altcoins. I don't consider XRP an altcoin, but you know what I'm saying, right? If Bitcoin can stabilize, then we can start to see the rally continue. I want to pull up gold here real quick for you guys. So gold ready, and earlier last week, right on Friday, it touched 2,195. I'm waiting to watch for gold to bust through 2,200. And if we can sustain that, then silver can start to play catch up as well. But we need to see gold. And right now, this is holding, right? It had its highest weekly close ever last week, and it's still holding. But as I said, the bonds are sending a signal. The bonds fell off all last week, this yield falling off. And this is anticipation of the Fed having to cut rates at some point this year, because we know that it is breaking. Now we are seeing the 2-year kind of tick up here today. We'll continue to watch that, but that's after it came back down to about 4.41% last week. Okay. So they have been sending the signal. I came across this article over the weekend as well, which is from Barron's, why gold and Bitcoin are hitting record highs, but won't stay there for long. And the long and the short of this article is basically saying that inflation's still running hot, and so the Fed is not going to be able to cut rates just quite yet. And that's really the bull thesis for gold and for Bitcoin, is that the Fed is going to cut rates, turn back on the money printer, and that we're going to, push Bitcoin and gold, all these currencies back up, which I believe. It's just a matter of timing this thing, right? See, and I would add, the rally that we've been going through is an anticipation, the expectation that the Fed was going to cut in March, right? The anticipation that the Fed was going to cut in January, right? And the anticipation that the Fed was going to cut last year. Remember, this is the same market expectations of 6 rate cuts last year in 2023. How many did we get? 0. This is the same market that was predicting 7 rate cuts this year. Now, they finally have come back down to reality, finally sobered up, and where are they at? Well, now they're expecting 4, even though Jerome Powell even said himself that we probably only would get about 3. So the market's still trying to push for 4 rate cuts. And you have to understand, too, that historically when we see the Fed cut rates, it's because economy's already going into recession, things are already breaking, and it perpetuates that further. The market goes down further. And then, if they come back in with massive amount of money printing, then that is what drives us up higher. And I am of the firm opinion right now that this rally is tipping out right now, because we're dealing with a set amount of liquidity that's in the system, and that liquidity is not growing. Credit is contracting. The credit event is already unfolding. And so I'm of the opinion that, you're still seeing new money come in. You're seeing that the Wall Street ETFs really opened up the floodgates, and that's helped push Bitcoin here to 72,000. Blew past my expectations. That's fine, right? Because now we're seeing that we're making money too, right? Our XRP ripping. That's great. But I am of the firm opinion that with the amount of liquidity, the amount of dollars, the amount of money that we have that is potentially looking to come in, that's starting to peter out. Okay. And in fact, the U.S. household savings is set to run out here later this month as well, into April. So it's not just me saying that. It's not just me sharing my feelings. It's data, right? The U.S. household excess savings is set to run out in the next month. Credit is contracting. M2 supply is contracting. All the data points that I shared earlier. The BTFP is ending. Bank stocks down. What's going up? All of the alternatives, right? The new money, the crazy currencies, as Donald Trump calls them, right? And I want to share this with you guys because XRP is doing what it does. It's moving last. It's a laggard, but when it moves, it's melting faces. People don't know what to do with themselves. And this perpetuates that FOMO. Folks that left to go play with Mickey Mouse coin. How's your Mickey Mouse coin doing today? Uh-oh. And then they come back in. Oh, crap. I can't miss the XRP rally. And this is what spurs this thing to go nuts. Now, although I would like to say that we're well on our way to the path to new all-time high, are we going to see that in the next month? You know, I'm here for it. I'm here for any of these pumps, right? I enjoy these pumps. I respect the pump. The world around us is burning down, but yeah, sure, the pump's fun. I like having a good time too and making money, sure. But the thing that we have to bring this back to is where's the money going to come from to push Bitcoin up to 100,000 plus? I am of the opinion that we don't get that push, that we don't get to go that far until we get new liquidity added to our system. New liquidity injections, new money printing, and that comes after it breaks, after it corrects, after maybe it's a collapse, maybe it's a crash, maybe, banking crisis isn't over. And then the Fed opens back up, pals Pandora's box, cuts interest rates, money printer goes burr, and we go back up and continue on our mission to the moon. And for Bitcoin, my predictions have remained the same. I think that this this bull run, I think that Bitcoin does break 100,000. I think 120 to 150,000 is kind of my target. Basically doubling up the previous all-time high. And in that event, right, the amount of money that we're going to have in this space is going to be incredible. And there's still plenty of speculation. This is not the utility bull run. So is this where we see XRP go to 589? No, I don't believe that we're going to go that far. My expectations for XRP remain the same, $5 to $15. I'm going to be a very happy camper if we achieve anywhere in there, in those levels, $5 to $15. But I don't believe that we go to new all-time highs. Well, we're at a new all-time high for Bitcoin. Sure, we could rally up here spectacularly over the next month or so. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised with that. But what I think takes this overall cryptocurrency market to the 5 trillion, 6 trillion overall market cap, Bitcoin to 120 to 150, what takes XRP to 10 to $15 is a new wave of liquidity, a new wave of inflation. And I don't think that we get that until we break down. Now, if you go look, I've been warning about this, right? We had a 340% rally in 2019 before we had a 70% correction and crash in March of 2020 for Bitcoin. Now, we've exceeded that 340%, right? The 340% bull trap rally this time around was achieved at 69,000. Funny enough, right? It's like this market's just programmed by some grand algorithm, right? Perfectly there, but now we've surpassed it. We're at 72,000. So, I'm okay being wrong if it's to the upside, right? What I don't want to be wrong and what I don't want to be prepared for is that downside. And so understanding risk, understanding what your expectations are out of all of your cryptocurrency positions, out of all of your other positions, if you got precious metals as well, understanding why. I see a lot of people, they're still bashing gold and silver. And, gold and silver is doing nothing like these crypto coins. It's like, well, no, it's not supposed to. Gold and silver is on a different side of my portfolio. I don't know what side of your portfolio you have on, but if you have gold on the same side of your portfolio sitting next to Mickey Mouse coin, you might want to check your thesis on gold and your understanding the role that gold and silver would play on your portfolio. Because for me, it's not about catching a pump. Even though I think gold and silver are going to appreciate significantly, that's about a hedge. That's an insurance policy. That's on the defensive side of my portfolio. When it's time to go on offense, we've loaded up on coins like XRP and others. And as you're seeing here today, the breakout is imminent. It's happening. And I wanted to show you guys this chart from Crypto Bull. I know a lot of people, Crypto Bull's a controversial guy, right? Because he puts out bullish technical analysis on XRP. He's, talking about XRP making a move to $27. I'm here for it. right? But I'm also here for XRP to $5 too. That's going to be a good start. But take a look at this chart that he shares here today. Very important. Before XRP rose 80,000% in 2017, the value against Bitcoin was even lower than today. It's irrelevant. Well, I don't know if I'd say it's irrelevant, but it is a good data point to look at. And that's the fact that the XRP Bitcoin trading pair, it has continued to break down. It really has. XRP versus Bitcoin has continued to break down, but it's nowhere near the levels of 2021 and nowhere near the levels of 2017. So although it's breaking down, we actually are holding much, much stronger against Bitcoin. Considering that Bitcoin has primarily led this rally and XRP is still holding very, very strong against it, is telling me that XRP is perfectly positioned. You know, despite what the haters say, despite what the fudsters want to say, all these folks, XRP versus Bitcoin. Let me pull up the chart here. XRP versus BTC. Let's take a look at it. Yeah. We're hanging in fine, guys. We're hanging in just fine. Not only are we higher than the levels that we went down to in 2017 before we rose 80,000% against Bitcoin, but we're also above the levels that we broke down to in 2021. And now you're starting to see it break out here once again. That's a thing of beauty right there, folks. And so this market beating my expectations, pleasantly surprised, but I firmly believe that this is setting the signal of what we've been warning about. Bull trap before bank collapse and broader correction for the equities market and for cryptocurrency as well. And, you know, you think about it, even if Bitcoin just gets a 10, 20% correction, it doesn't have to do what it did in March 2020, but just a simple correction, a healthy correction, right? Preparing ourselves for that possibility, but also enjoying the pump. That's what we're doing, right? Having two opposing ideas, right, is a sign of true intelligence, is being able to understand both sides of the coin, sitting on that edge. That's where true intelligence lies. And so it would be, I think, ignorance is bliss. And this is the position that many people want to take in the crypto space, of just enjoying the pump forever and forgetting that everything else in the financial system is breaking. The banking crisis isn't over. And we face many issues. There's also a World War III going on right now as well. And inflation's nowhere near. And inflation comes out tomorrow. Okay. So let me show you guys what we're up against here this week. We have our economic calendar right here from Market Watch. Today, nothing scheduled. Tomorrow is the big day. And as I've warned about, we continue to see this time and time again, where we get a rally leading up into the CPI lie, okay? And then we see a correction after folks realize, oh crap, maybe the Fed isn't going to be able to, come save the day and go fully dovish on us just quite yet. The Fed has to wait for it to break before they can come in and save the day. Core CPI year over year. Remember, it's still running hot. Still well above their 2% target, okay? Still well above. And even the forecast right now for 3.1% CPI year over year and 3.7 core year over year, right? That's well above the Fed's 2% inflation target. Monthly U.S. federal budget, sure. And then we get retail sales along with core PPI and PPI, along with initial jobless claims as well. We get Empire State Manufacturing on Friday, and that'll be important. So a big week for data. We're starting to see this rally leading up into it. Absolutely love to see it. That's fantastic. But I haven't fully strapped up the moon suit quite yet, right? We're warming up. We're getting ready. But I would just urge caution. Although I would love to say this is it, guys. I would love to just be straight pumping this thing. Pumping this thing up, having ourselves a party. I have, the ability to sit back here, take a deep breath and say, okay, right, this is what we want. We're sending the signal. And as I titled this session here, XRP and Gold Endgame, what data points can we confirm? I'm not talking about my feelings. I'm not talking about my perspective. I'm talking about data points that you can go confirm yourself. The reason why I titled this session here this morning, XRP and Gold Endgame, is because I think that these are two assets, along with maybe a few others, that are going to be a big part of resetting and revaluing the entire system. For gold, two data points here. They're stacking more gold than we have seen in the past 50 years at central banks. The second data point on central banks is that they are meeting with Ripple, by and large, by far, more so than any other company in the space by a long shot. Okay. We also know that we have 10 central bank digital currency projects that are being tested, piloted, and in some phase with the XRP ledger private chain for central banks that Ripple created. Okay, so the final point that I wanted to add is that we're seeing these are data points and facts that anybody can confirm. But the other big factor on why I'm so bullish on XRP is the fact that we have that utility coming in. This is what makes it not just a currency, but why I consider it a commodity as well. And these are just my opinions. Folks get their panties in a bunch because I say the XRP is a currency and a commodity like gold, and everybody gets all worked up. Oh my gosh, and you got these little silly guys that want to say, oh, no government body has declared it, then therefore it must not be. Well, okay, I'm not saying that I'm giving the official declaration. I'm not saying that I'm a lawyer. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying I can read a Webster's dictionary on what a currency and a commodity is. And if you have a little bit of common sense, you can apply that definition that's given to us, generally accepted across the world for what a currency and a commodity is. But people want to confuse the facts. Why? People just want to argue for argument's sake. Okay. And the utility that's coming is going to be massive. AMM set to go live here on the 22nd. I'll be dropping additional content on that. Make sure you guys have subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. And over the coming weeks, as we prepare for the AMM to go live, I'm going to be dropping a lot of content on the AMM. And I've already been playing with the Stellar AMM to kind of get familiar. And then we're going to watch as this XRP Ledger AMM rolls out. But we have a utility trifecta of utility that's getting started. It's going to be cross-chain bridge, XLS 38D, decentralized identity, which is XLS 40, okay? And both of those amendments have not been passed yet, but they're up for voting right now, and they continue to, build a little bit of momentum. But the amendment that we just saw passed over the weekend was the AMM. So now we've started the 2-week countdown, March 22nd, same day that we have a potential government shutdown looming. Interesting enough, and the same day that we have loans from the BTFP program due March 22nd is the same day that the XRP Ledger AMM is set to go live. Now, what gets interesting for me is the potential for Ripple to partner up with on-demand liquidity partners, other institutions, to create some of the best liquidity pools in the world on the XRP Ledger. And in fact, we're going to be able to participate in the same liquidity pools that Ripple is building out with these institutions, right? And so I'll just tell you right now, one of the things I'm going to be watching for is new issuers. I'm going to be watching for any of Ripple's partners that are becoming issuers, right, of tokens. And, it can be anything. It can be SBI Holdings creating the Japanese yen tokenized on the XRP ledger. It could be a partner in Europe that's creating a digital euro, right? We already see that we have Bitcoin, we have other currencies, we have USDC and Tether issued by GateHub and a few other issuers on the XRP ledger, but I am waiting for a new caliber of issuers. I've been talking about Circle. I really want to see Circle launch the USDC on the XRP ledger. I'm very hopeful that they will do that. And the ability for Ripple to partner up with their partners, right, where Ripple can say, okay, we're going to add XRP, you're going to issue and add USDC, and this is where you get the best liquidity in the world for USDC and XRP, right? The AMM is going to make the decentralized exchange in the XRP ledger even more efficient. And this is where we start to build out the best liquidity in the world, right? And the main piece that we're waiting for is for issued currencies and issued assets from respectable institutional issuers to come to the XRP ledger, right? I have my concerns about many of the issuers on the XRPL. In fact, I would argue that the big reason why the DEX isn't used, even though it's one of the best features of the XRP ledger, most people in the XRP community don't even know about the DEX, is because I'm not trading my XRP, what I call a reserve currency of the new financial system. I'm not trading it for crap on the XRPL. I'm not playing around with it. So for me to trade my XRP for something else on the XRP ledger, I got to have a dang good reason. So that's why I think that the DEX hasn't been utilized, and you got all these folks wondering, well, why, nobody knows about the DEX. XRP holders just want to hold their XRP. Well, yeah, dude, we think it's a reserve currency, and we're not trading it for Mickey Mouse on the XRPL. So you got to bring something to the table that's worth us trading our XRP for. And I'll tell you right now that when this AMM goes live, I will be sacrificing some of my XRP, despite the fact that I believe it's a reserve currency, the new financial system, and it's going to go to a very high price. I am going to sacrifice some of my XRP for the AMM, and really, it's not going to be a sacrifice because, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's the thing about it is it's a way to hedge two different assets, right? So, for example, say you don't mind holding XRP and you don't mind, well, look at what I did with Stronghold and XLM. I don't mind holding XLM and I don't mind holding Stronghold. So that's why I added to that AMM liquidity pool on the Stellar network. So that pool balances out. Sometimes I'm getting more XLM, sometimes I'm getting more Stronghold. This is impermanent loss. Eventually it balances itself back out, but I like having both. And so where you really miss out on is if the underlying asset, say XLM, or in this case for XRP, if XRP goes up, you're going to be selling all the way up. And so you're selling your XRP all the way up, and you're going to miss out on the potential of those, just holding the underlying asset. You would have potentially made more. But what it does, it's going to gradually grow the amount of both assets that you hold over time. So when we get crazy spikes up like we got today, right? This is when, that AMM is going to get out of balance, and you're going to have to wait for it to even back out. Who knows how long that could take, right? So you have to understand the risks associated with AMM. It is not going to be, passive income, park 10,000 XRP in an AMM and you live on it forever. But I think this is how we start to get towards our goal of building out the best liquidity in the world on the XRP ledger. And, for someone who's going to be holding a lot of XRP and is willing to, provide some liquidity, right? I think it's a great opportunity to get back that yield. And this is what has grown so many other projects in the space, is a little bit of a DeFi story. Whether their DeFi even works well or not, we saw many of them were just decentralized Ponzi schemes that went bust. But, look at Flare, for example. Flare rallied, went up, just went crazy, right? Did anybody sell? Well, a few people did. I put out a survey on my Twitter, and about 9 out of 10 people were not selling their Flare when Flare just went up and did an incredible rally, right? Why? Because they were choosing to delegate. They were choosing to, get those yields from delegating their Flare. The same dynamics start to come in with XRP. And these exchanges, what these exchanges are going to do is they're going to give you an option where you can just press earn 3% yield on my XRP, boom, and it's going to put you into a liquidity pool, right? And there's many different ways that they can create that interface and give you options, earn 5% on your XRP, and maybe they split up your XRP between different AMM liquidity pools, right? There's many different ways that they can do this. But what I think we need is just that button right there, earn 5% on my XRP, earn 3% on my XRP, whatever it is, that keeps people holding. Instead of, selling off their XRP, selling off all of it, they might still, sell the pump and sell the rallies when XRP goes to new all-time high. But just having that access, earn 3% on my XRP, boom, done. And they don't have to do it. Now, if you want to learn how to use the decentralized exchange, if you want to learn how to, bring your assets off of cold storage back to exchanges, back to the decentralized exchange, this is what we've been talking about in our private Discord group, and we're going to continue to be doing classes on the decentralized exchange, on storing our crypto, on moving it around, on off-ramping, right? Because the beautiful thing is with more issuers coming to the XRPL, we will have more options. Another reason why I want to see Circle issue USDC on the XRPL is because I want to have that option for securing profits on XRP, where you'd be able to sell XRP into USDC on the XRP ledger, okay? And then you would just need to find an off-ramp after that, but you'd be able to lock in your profits, right? Because USDC is that stablecoin, as stable as the US dollar is, which is not very stable over time, but that's another story. You get my point. When XRP goes to the moon and you can move from XRP to USDC on the XRPL issued by Circle or issued by somebody else too, right? You'd have that ability to lock in your profits on a stable coin, okay? And then it would just be a matter of finding an off-ramp after that. So, you know, this is why I'm so bullish right now on XRP for this bull run. I know many people have been sleeping on it. Many people are frustrated. Many people have given up. Many people have sold off completely. You know, what we see here today is the exact type of move that gets people to FOMO back in, that gets people going, oh crap, I made a mistake. They come back in. These are the same folks that are going to be buying over $1. Please understand, the highest price that I've ever bought XRP at is $1.20. I am guilty of FOMOing into XRP above $1. Please don't get it twisted, okay? I myself have FOMOed into XRP over $1.20, okay? That's the highest I've ever paid for XRP. Thankfully, because I've, you know, had years to stack this thing, my average is a lot lower than that. But, you know, I get it. And this is what is going to perpetuate XRP far past that previous all-time high, in my opinion, because the dynamics are so much more different. There's so much more liquidity in the space of crypto. There's many more exchanges that XRP is listed on. And by the way, in the Discord group earlier this morning, I saw we had many of our community members that were reporting that crypto.com wasn't working, that Uphold wasn't working, that many of these exchanges weren't working. So please understand, these exchanges are not your friend. You're here to conduct a business transaction. I wouldn't trust these exchanges. I would just try to get my deal done and then, you know, get your crypto off these exchanges if you have the ability to self-custody and use cold storage. Because these exchanges are not here to be friendly with you. And these exchanges, I don't think, have their systems are not ready to go for this bull run. And in particular, XRP has a funny ability to crash these exchanges time and time again after we see these pumps. So with that being said, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure to come back here for a live session on YouTube. I just want to say thank you for all the support. I know you guys missed me over the last week. I missed you. All of our community resources are available at my website, zachrector.com. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. We got a lot more content coming this week. The fireworks are popping off. XRP is absolutely ripping. Gotta love to see it. And if you guys could do me a big favor, please smash the thumbs up on this one as we hit the exits. And if you do feel inclined, maybe share this one out far and wide, and let's get our friends, family, loved ones, and communities tapped in on the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. This is it, folks. This is it. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one. God bless you all.